Business Finance, Chapter 18. In Chapter 18, we talk about the international aspects of financial management. So the chapter starts out with some terminology that's popular. It doesn't cover all terminology within international finance, but it does cover some. So we have an American Depository Receipt or an ADR. These are securities issued in the U.S. representing shares of foreign stock that can be traded in the U.S. A cross rate is the exchange rate between two currencies when both are quoted in a third currency, usually US dollars. So this would be if we quoted Swiss francs as US dollars and euros as US dollars, and then showed the currency, the exchange rate between them based on their relationship to US dollars. Eurobond is a bond issued in multiple countries, but the denomination or the currency is in the issuer's home currency. So whichever country is issuing it, that is the currency it is issued in, but they can be purchased in multiple countries. Euro currency or euro dollars, this is money deposited in a financial center outside the country of the currency involved. A dollar denominated deposits in banks outside the US banking system. So if a person from the US deposited money in banks in Europe, Canada, Mexico, those would be called euro dollars. Foreign bonds, similar to euro bonds, but these are, instead of sold in multiple countries like euro bonds are, foreign bonds are only sold in the country that they originate from, and they are in the currency of the country of issue. Gilts are British and Irish government securities. The London Interbank Offer Rate, or LIBOR, this is the rate international banks charge each other for loans of euro dollars in the London market. It's usually used as a benchmark for money market instruments. And then swaps. So you can have an interest rate swap where two parties agree on exchange a floating rate payment for a fixed rate payment. So trying to hedge against those interest rate exchanges, or a currency swap. And a currency swap is an agreement to deliver one currency in exchange for another. So if you're traveling and you want to switch your dollars to pesos or your dollars to euros or Swiss francs or wherever you're traveling to. So there are a number of exchanges in foreign countries, and that continues to increase, especially as we become more global as a society, as we're able to do business on the internet more often, and we can purchase from anywhere at any time, then the exchanges continue to increase. Exchanges help facilitate that flow of capital. So important is to exchange between developing countries. So countries that are currently developing their economic market or going into new kinds of trade or manufacturing, their ability to generate income increases the more global that they become and the more markets that they trade in. There are differences between the different exchanges. So how the market is set up, what the regulation of the market is, what kind of trading rules we have. So we know that the US markets are regulated. We have the SEC that regulates our markets. We have rules coming down from Congress. There are different taxes and then different trading rules. So this is a true thing in all countries. And different countries obviously have different rules. So United States currently has the most developed capital markets in the world, but foreign markets are becoming more and more competitive, and they're of course willing to innovate as necessary to attract investors. Forex trading is the largest financial market in the world. It's a foreign exchange market. They do 24/7 trading. Most of their trading is in US dollars, pounds, yen, and the euro. The Forex quotations are direct or indirect. So direct, it shows the US dollar amount per foreign currency, and the indirect shows units of foreign currency per US dollar. So this is the most popular website for looking at what the foreign exchange is, and this market is places where you can trade. So this is an example of foreign exchange quotes. These are dated July 9th, 2018. So this is table 18.2 that's being referred to in the homework questions. So as I said in the directions for the homework, you can use this table, or you can look at today's foreign exchange rates and use the current foreign exchange rates. So you can see the US dollar equivalent and then the number of that foreign currency that would be required to translate to a US dollar. And then there's a list of different countries and different amounts. So we're going to get to this forward quotation, so the 1 month forward, 3 month forward, and 6 month forward. We're going to talk about those in a couple of slides. So the exchange rate is the price of one country's currency in terms of another. It is most often quoted in terms of dollars. As we saw, the direct quotation is the price of the foreign currency expressed in US dollars, and the indirect is the amount required to buy 1 US dollar. So let's look at this euro to Swedish krona. This is a direct exchange rate quotation. So the US dollar to buy 1 unit of the euro. So you need $1.17 to buy 1 euro. The euro is selling at $1.17. You need 11 cents or 11.5 cents to buy 1 krona. So the krona is selling at 0.1146. The indirect quote is how many euros or how many kronas it takes to buy 1 US dollar. So the flip of the direct quote. So we can see here at the date in 2008 that table was 2018 that table was printed. It was it took 0.8523 euros to buy 1 US dollar, or 8.7241 kronas to buy 1 US dollar. So as I said, they're reciprocal of the other. They're just the flipped version of another. Euros and British pounds are normally quoted as direct quotations. So the pound is selling at 1.3258 USD. Almost all other currencies are quoted as indirect. Let's look at an example of exchange rates. So in this example, we have $10,000. And based on the rates in the figure, we want to know how many Norwegian krone we can buy. So we have an exchange rate. It's 8.0244 krona per US dollar. We can buy, if for $10,000, we can buy 80,244 krona. Or suppose we're visiting London and we want to buy a souvenir that costs 1,000 British pounds. And we want to know how much that costs in US dollars. Well, if the exchange rate is $1.3258 per pound, then we take 1,000 times that, and that cost would be $1,325.80. A cross rate is the exchange rate between any two currencies not involving US dollars. This can be calculated from direct or indirect rates, and it's based on their US dollar exchange rate. So let's look at an example to that. We're going to use the euros and the krona again, so Swedish kronas. So we have euros to a dollar is 0.8523, and krona to a dollar is 0.1146. So when we put them into this equation, the euro to the krona is 0.0511. And then the cross rate, the inverse of that, the flipped version of that, we need 8.7241 kronas to buy $1 and 1.1733 euros for $1. So we have the exchange rate then is 10.2360 kronos to euro. So arbitrage is a violation of the law of one price. Arbitrage is a way that people can use different exchange rates in order to create a positive cash flow or to create positive returns without risk. Triangle arbitrage moves money through three exchange rates. So in this example, we're going to look at triangle arbitrage. So we have Mexican pesos, Swiss francs, and we look at the cross rate for pesos to Swiss francs. That's the quoted cross rate. However, the implied cross rate, if we get 10 Mexican pesos per $1 and 2 Swiss francs per $1, the implied cross rate is $5 and the posted cross rate is 4, or pesos to Swiss francs. So for triangle arbitrage, we can use $100 to buy pesos. That gets us 1,000 pesos. We use 1,000 pesos to buy Swiss francs. That, at the current cross rate, translates into 250 Swiss francs. We then use those 250 Swiss francs to buy US dollars, and the translate is to $125 US dollars. We just earned $25 of risk-free profit by taking advantage of those tax rates. So we can see that example here at the quoted price, the implied, how we moved that money through the three different exchange rates, and we were able to generate a $25 profit. Other terminology is appreciation and depreciation of currency. So if the exchange rate goes from 7.45 kronas per US dollar to 12 kronas per US dollar, a US dollar now buys more kronas. So we say the dollar is appreciating or strengthening, and the krona is depreciating or weakening against the dollar. We continue to more currency. So we have the spot rate and the forward rate. The spot rate is the exchange rate for an immediate trade. So if you go into a bank today or go to a foreign market or Forex and trade one currency for another, the exchange rate you get right at that moment is the spot rate. A forward rate is the rate specified today to exchange currency at some future date. It's normally reported as an indirect quote. If you use the forward rate, you lock in an exchange rate, and you can get a gain or a loss from this. But generally, you would believe that if the rate would change a lot within the next 3, 6, or 12 months, is what their years are quoted in. So if you knew that you were going on an international trip in 6 months, you could lock in using a forward contract, or you lock in at what the 6-month forward contract rate is today, and that is the rate you're going to pay when you get the currency exchange in 6 months, instead of whatever rate that is 6 months later. It's a way to hedge against exchange rate risk. So you believe that the rate they're giving you now is going to be a better rate than what you would